Hi and welcome to the video summit. I'm with Scott today. He does a wonderful work with his songs. He's gonna tell you about it himself. Hi, Scott.
Hi, Adrian. Hi, everybody. Great to see you all, even though I don't see you all.
Welcome and thank you for being here, Scott. I love the work that you do, and I'm sure that the people that doesn't know you yet is going to know you through this. Will enjoy your work very good too. Can you introduce yourself a little and tell us how you got to do what you do?
Sure. Well, I was born in New York City in 1963 and had a traditional family and a life, and I was in college when I was hit over the head by the thunderbolt of transformation. And all the courses I was taking just no longer interested me, and all I wanted was the experiences that I was having through breath work, through A Course in Miracles, the experience of feeling one with the universe and totally at peace and totally transcendent of the experience of fear, insecurity, and nervousness. I got a taste, like a tiger tasted blood. And so I dropped out of college and I took all the workshops I could get my hands on in New York City and became a transformational speaker and singer and workshop leader myself. In the course of committing to healing myself, I became skilled in being able to support others in their own healing and awakening. So my life is all about shifts and paradigm changes and conquering fear. So this is a good summit for me.
Definitely is for everybody. We are in a very special time right now. A great shift is happening all over the planet. I think a lot of people are beginning to wake up to a reality that I don't think considered before. And with it, a lot of fears are coming up to the surface for us to recognize them and work them through and let them go, release them. And since we are also different from each other, so unique and different, we all have different ways of doing that. And in my case, we can hear the same thing in 5 or 10 different ways until the 11th way is the one that clicks us and, oh, I heard this before. And we all know this. I think we just need to remember it. That's why I consider that it's not about learning, but just merely about remembering what we already know. And this is great that you are joining us, Scott. Very good. I made some notes, so if you see me, I don't want to miss anything, so I might be reading some of the questions that I had for you.
Okay, and I want to warn you that I have I have been known to answer questions in rhyme.
Oh, I like that. Yes, I
So
know.
I may break out into spontaneous poetry at any moment.
Please do.
I can't predict it.
Please do. Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
I know that you used to, like you said, respond your question with humor. How do you think it helped us to learn and heal what we have inside?
Well, I think one of the ways of talking about transformation is increasing your willingness to let go of control and trust the universe rather than your own ego. And there's many ways of letting go of control: crisis, danger, tragedy, love. Being in the presence of enormous love often just melts our control structures. But one of the other ways that I've discovered is being tickled into heaven, being tickled into surrender. And when I mean tickled, I mean just getting the cosmic joke and laughing until you can't even think straight anymore. And being entertained and tickled and ushered into a new reality where you just can't hold on to gravity anymore because levity has taken you over. And that's, I would say, the path that I've been on and that I enjoy leading others into.
Scott, I know that you're known for your improvisations and songs, all of out of the blue. Would you like to share something with us? I see your guitar over there,
I have a guitar, and
or I can give you mine, depending.
Solo, Adrian. Maybe you can do a solo. Well, you said out of the blue, and I'm noticing that you're wearing a blue shirt.
I am.
So let's start with out of the blue, from my heart to you. It's okay to not have a clue, and to empty our minds and let it be filled with a new wine, because now is a new time to be filled. I love being empty, I love being filled, I love surrendering my agenda and my will. My heart to you comes out of the blue. Spirit comes through when I am true to the muses. Nobody refuses the in the moment sunshine that I bring. When I have empty head and I have open heart, that's when the music starts and we can have fun.
Oh, that's beautiful, God. You really have a gift being able to improvise like that. So suddenly, I love it. Scott, do you have on YouTube these Dr. Seuss poems? I watch a few of them, especially the one about fears. Some of them have a lot of hits. Would you like to share the one on fear, since it's related with this summit?
Yes. And before I do so, I will say this. This poem, which has gotten over 1 million hits on YouTube, it was inspired by a line I read from Emmanuel, which is a wonderful spirit guide who's written 3 books through Pat Roadgast. And he said, fear whispers something about, like, fear says, the world is a dangerous place, but listen to me, I'll keep you safe. And love says, you're already safe. And it's like we have these 2 different realities to listen to. And I don't necessarily think we can conquer fear completely, but we can learn to stop listening to it as if it was our guidance counselor. And at a certain point, when you focus less and less attention on fear and focus more and more of your attention on faith and trust and joy, fear has no choice but to withdraw its energy from your life, because you're not feeding it anymore with your attention.
True.
And that's what this is all about. And that's what this poem is about. And this poem came to me after I was reading that Emmanuel quote. I thought, wow, fear is kind of like an insurance salesman. First he's got to convince you that you need the insurance, then he's got to sell it to you, and all for your own good, you know. Those sleazy insurance salesmen, not that they're all that way, but anyway, so I thought of fear that way, and then this poem started to come through. So, and these kinds of poems, which are reminiscent of Dr. Seuss, started to come through me when I started reading Dr. Seuss to my daughter, who's now almost 5 years old. So there was a very visceral connection to his energy and his way of crafting and being silly and playful with the rhymes, and how I was connecting to my daughter, and then this whole spiritual transmission that started to come through, about 4 years ago, and I was like, oh my God, I'm the spiritual Dr. Seuss.
Awesome. I'm finishing my first book, and it's related also with fears. I believe fear offers us is in some way what sets in place our free will offer us an opportunity to choose.
Yes.
Because if we wouldn't have the opposite, how would we be able to express ourselves and decide which one we want?
Be robots of God instead of children of God.
Exactly.
And so I want to say one more thing about the poem, is that I wrote it in 2012 when a lot of people were talking about the end times.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was capitalizing on all that conversation. It's called, "Oh Dear, the End Times Are Here." And here we go. "Gather, my friends, 'cause the end times are here. Not the end of the world, but the end of your fear. So turn down the lights, make it dark now, I dare ya. Stick around till the end, and I'm gonna unscare ya." Now, when you were young and most things were quite swell, fear knocked on your door with a product to sell. And like most good salesmen, he cast quite a spell while selling insurance called All Is Not Well. Now, All Is Not Well came in its own case. The case that there's danger all over the place. And after you bought it, your All Is Not Well, you felt it your duty to share and to tell. And so mouth to mouth was how fear procreated, with no YouTube or Facebook to disseminate it. Fear soon went viral all over the globe, using old-time religion to dispense and promote. 'Cause fear knew the way to get globally big was to drive a false wedge between God and her kids. That's how he came to be so domineering, by replacing God-loving with, "You must be God-fearing." So fear and religion began co-creating and cooked up a symbol of fear they called Satan, as if infinite love had a worthy opponent with pitchfork in hand who could pounce any moment. The concept was great for maintaining control, making people behave as if they're on parole. Because when God-fearing people are scared for their souls, they put much more silver and gold in the bowls. So business was booming and fear kept on spreading, and fear loved the credit the devil was getting. Because fear itself likes to stay hidden from view and play hide and seek in its host, which is you. "I'm not afraid, I'm just angry," it shouts. "I've been mistreated and need to speak out." "I'm not afraid, I'm upset and I'm caring." There's so many disguises that fear enjoys wearing. He's proud of his wardrobe because he designed it. Though he wouldn't admit it, fear's quite clothes-minded. So he doesn't realize he's often dressed funny, wearing layers of worry, looking like a stress bunny. When you're not looking, he dresses you too, in stress bunny outfits that don't become you. Because when you wear worry, it wears tight and stiff, from statically clinging to imagined what-ifs. Worst-case scenarios fill your projector. Then fear says, "Stop worrying, I'll be your protector." He shows you his life insurance policy and says, "Here's what you get when you sign up with me. You get top-notch around-the-clock security, an armored alarm system on your body. And if you're harassed, I'm your personal bouncer. For making decisions, I'll be your guidance counselor. No more will I let you take risks that could hurt you. Just stick with me, kid, I'll never desert you." Now all of your loved ones have already signed. Don't be a black sheep, join the flock. You'll be fine. So, you signed up and breathed a big sigh of relief because you thought you'd feel safer with fear as your chief. But the contract had fine print, too fine to be seen, and you didn't read the clause that denied you your dreams. From then on, heart's desires that came to be birthed were blocked by your fears before they could reach earth. It seemed your new policy's whole life protection was more birth controlling than most contraception. How could you conceive of a life more abundant, with fear in your ear like a cable news pundit who's yelling, "I'm telling the truth! Fair and balanced!" while drowning out most of your love, gifts, and talents. Now, fear says, get real! That's his bottom line thing. And fear learned what's real from his friend Stephen King, whose collection of books make outstanding addictions, as long as you realize you're reading fiction, which is what you can do with your own fear collection. Just transfer them all to your mind's fiction section. Because no matter how gripping a tale fear can tell, its original premise that all is not well is a bit topsy-turvy in this universe and deserves to be laughed off the face of the earth. And while you are laughing, you let in the light which makes fear pack his bags and get on the next flight. Because he needs to feel needed. And when you choose joy, well then fear has no choice but to be unemployed. Fear used to feel needed when lions were chasing you, gathering speed with intentions of tasting you. But nowadays, most of the lions we find are fictional cats roaming round in our minds. And when you stop feeding those cats in your head, they just go away because they're not getting fed. And with a clear head, you are free now to choose a channel that's broadcasting much better news. So you get off your couch and turn off the TV and tune into WLOVE. It's got no commercials and nothing to sell, just a steady reminder that all is quite well. And all is quite well is insurance enough. You're already covered by a plan you can trust. You got Universal, the original plan. And there's never a moment that you're not in good hands. You're no longer buying fear's insurance scam. Because you know every moment you're in good hands.
Amen.
Amen.
That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, I was going to ask you, you mentioned it in your poem, how do you personally deal with challenging that can be fearful situations in your own life? Like the song, you acknowledge him to be work of fiction and put him on the back?
Yeah, I do my best to listen to my fear and let it tell its scary story. Like, fear, almost like I interview fear. I'd say, so what do you think the worst thing is going to happen? Oh, we're going to end up homeless. And then what might happen? Well, then we're going to be like just, miserable and da-da-da. And then what might happen? Da-da-da-da-da. And go to the bottom line where fear's scariest story is revealed. And then I say, well, thank you for sharing. Now, let's talk about what the best thing might happen. Well, blah, 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 blah. And I start putting attention on the best thing that might happen. And that's what I've just learned to do, is give fear a microphone, let it do its thing, say thank you for sharing, put my
Absolutely.
where I want my attention to be.
Your book, Scott, is called Teach Me How to Love. You spend a great deal of time sharing about your journey of self-love.
Yeah.
Your critic is hysterical. Could you share some of that?
Learning how to manage and ultimately transcend the inner critic in a big lesson for me. And yeah, the inner critic. Yeah, when are you going to get a job? My mother, my father, and different school teachers, and just my ego. It's just all of it. So, and it's very similar to the fear. It's like I've learned to let it speak, and so what do you got, critic? Well, you're not good enough, you're lazy, you're arrogant, you're a prick, and and I'll say, well, thank you for your opinion, and I really appreciate you, it sounds like you're really wanting to support me in having a major life makeover, and thank you, like whatever, just to not resist the critic.
Absolutely.
But I also, in the book, I have a good laugh at the critic. I realized a number of years ago, after doing some 12-step work on certain substance addictions and codependency, that my biggest addiction was self-criticism. And when I realized that all my other addictions were attempts to get some relief from being alone with the critic, whether it be workaholism or whatever, that it was hard for me to be alone with myself. My mother, my father, and different school teachers, and just my ego. It's just all of it. So, and it's very similar to the fear. It's like I've learned to let it speak. And so what do you got, critic? Well, you're not good enough. You're lazy. You're arrogant. You're a prick, and, and I'll say, well, thank you for your opinion. And I really appreciate you. It sounds like you're really wanting to support me in having a major life makeover, and thank you, like whatever, just to not resist the critic.
Absolutely.
But I also, in the book, I have a good laugh at the critic. I realized a number of years ago, after doing some 12-step work on certain substance addictions and codependency, that my biggest addiction was self-criticism. And when I realized that all my other addictions were attempts to get some relief from being alone with the critic, whether it be workaholism or whatever, that it was hard for me to be alone with myself. Let me just close the sound here. It's kind of... Okay. So I realized that, hey, let's find a 12-step group for this base level foundation thing, because I'm not the only one that deals with it. And I couldn't find one, so I started my own called Critaholics Anonymous. And I started telling my story. And my story is I wasn't always a critaholic. I was born an average social criticizer, able to enjoy a few harmless judgments of myself and others at parties and social gatherings. But then as it started to become a habit, I began noticing that I'd wake up in the morning and start my day with a double shot of straight criticism. Thinking all alone. And one day I was caught thinking and driving. My thoughts had been swerving all over the road, and a policeman had clocked me on his radar, judging myself at 84 times per hour in a 65 zone. So I was arrested for inner child abuse, driving myself crazy, and disturbing my own peace. And it was a Sunday, and he asked me where I was going. When I told him I was on my way to my office, he added, resisting arrest. This is all made up, of course. It's a fantasy that I wrote in the book. So I was asked to be my own prosecuting attorney. I went to court, and they said, will you be your own prosecuting attorney? Because it looks like you've had a lot of experience in that. And so I agreed, and I won my case. I was found guilty, and I was given a suspended sentence. I was sent to a hospital that specialized in the treatment of chronic critique syndrome. And I was told by the doctors who examined me, who put me on the critical list, they said, young man, if you don't learn to be more gentle with yourself, if you don't learn to love yourself unconditionally, you are going to have a critiac arrest. And that's when I decided to arrest my critic.
Scott, listen to you, it makes me realize that we all, in a greater or a lower scale, have that inner critic. And I think we were always ashamed, afraid to realize that we all have that chatter that sometimes feels like eating our brains, and we all do. And now that we are beginning to share this common trait that we all have, and realize that it's all made up, and sometimes people resist it to not because they don't like it, and like they say, what you resist persists. So I like what you say, that instead of resisting it, you listen it. I do more or less the same thing. Tell me your opinion. Would I say, okay, thank you for sharing, now look on the other way. I think that heals it, instead of perpetuating in that place that doesn't feel good. And we don't realize that sometimes we don't need to remain there. We can listen to whatever it is for us to listen, and let it go, and focus. That's some sort of like meditation is also all about, releasing the thoughts and trying to focus in only one single thing. I love it. I love it. Scott, you call yourself a psychic coach. How come? What is that all about?
Well, I've been a life coach since 1995, and I've always been extremely intuitive, but I took some clairvoyant classes and a one-year training and really fine-tuned my intuitive development to the point where I was able to see auras and listen to people's guides and just read chakras and past lives and all the things that psychics do. And I integrated that into my coaching practice so that when people are talking to me, I'm not just listening to their words, but I'm hearing a deeper conversation and seeing things about them that may be helpful in supporting them. So some people use me as a psychic, and the coaching is secondary. Some people use me as a coach and don't even really believe in the psychic part. But most people integrate all of my talents, and I also end each session with an intuitively created song where I record the song as they're listening on the phone or on Skype. And it's a song about their progress, their development, their affirmations, and it's personal, it's custom made, it's very touching and sometimes humorous if the person wants that. And so people get their song and they get their psychic reading and they get their coaching all in one glorious session.
That's awesome. Scott, can you tell the viewers what is your free gift for them?
My free gift is a blender. No, that's a joke. I think I sent you a song of mine called "Waking Up Is Hard to Do," which gets the most. When I do concerts live, I do a lot of my funny songs, and that one seems to get the most applause and people requesting it over and over again. So it's a satire on Neil Sedaka's "Breaking Up Is Hard to Do," but it's about waking up is hard to do. It's sort of like your spiritual path through the eyes of your ego.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, how can people reach you and learn more about you, your work, what you do, and all that?
Well, I would say first of all, go to my website, scottsongs.com. SCOTTSONGS.com. You can listen to music. You can read my first chapter of my book. You can sign up to be on my mailing list. You can read about my coaching. And I offer half-an-hour consultations for free for anybody who's interested in my coaching. So there's a lot of information there on the website. You can also Google me on YouTube and just enjoy my spiritual Dr. Seuss poems and other things that I put up there on YouTube.
Awesome. So they can reach you through your website?
I believe that is so true.
Okay, all right. Scott, thank you very much for this. Thank you for sharing your message with everybody. And we'll be in touch. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Adrian. Thank you all for listening, and have a wonderful, fearless life.
And I see you later. Thank you.
Bye.